So, yesterday, I did a video about what happened at Oxford High School in Michigan. And later, one thing I had shared in the video was students sharing that they thought the shooter was trying to get into their classroom. And that turned out to be wrong, um, though the students felt like it was. And the sheriff said they had reason to believe the shooter was trying to get in the classroom, but it came out that it was um, actually a sheriff's deputy. I think he used the term bro, like, come look at my badge, bro. And people were like, that makes us nervous. So that was not the shooter. The shooter had been detained at that time. But there are lots of things we do know about what happened yesterday, of what authorities called an absolutely cold hearted, murderous rampage. Again, this is the 28th school shooting this year, the 20th since August. Oxford High School is in Oxford Township. There are 22,000 people there. It's 30 miles north of Detroit. So it's sort of a small town. Um, the shooter, who I'm not going to use his name, shot 11 people between the ages of 14 and 17 and a teacher. 4 children died. Tate Meyer, Hannah Juliana, Madison Baldwin, and Justin Schilling. Karen McDonald, the Oakland County prosecutor, minced no words yesterday, charging the shooter with 1 count of terrorism causing death, 4 counts of first-degree murder, 7 counts of assault with intent to murder, 12 counts of possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Video from the school shows that he was shooting people at close range, oftentimes towards the head or the chest. And there's now this discussion of, are we going to charge the parents? Look, Janine is listening to it. So I looked into Michigan law, and I haven't asked my resident attorney husband. So what Karen McDonald said yesterday is some crimes are so severe they require the suspect to be automatically treated as an adult. So, like first degree murder. So that's why he's being charged as an adult. It is a law in Michigan. Now, the Michigan gun law says this: you may be criminally and civilly liable for any harm caused by a person less than 18 years of age who lawfully gains unsupervised access to your firearm if unlawfully stored. However, this is the caveat: Michigan also penalizes any person who, because of carelessness, recklessness, or negligence, but not willful or wanton conduct, causes or allows any firearm under his control to be discharged and kill another person. However, this law does not seem to be used to hold individuals responsible for failing to secure a gun under their immediate control if it is accessed by a minor. So yesterday, I said, this isn't about gun laws. This is about parents. This is about parents who buy guns and give them to their children. Handguns. We're not talking about hunting. We're talking about a handgun. Now, again, I think I was wrong, because one thing that my state has, North Carolina, that Michigan does not have, is we have a child access prevention law. And what that is it's a state with a law in place designed to prevent children from accessing firearms, including laws imposing criminal liability when a child gains access to a firearm as a result of negligent firearm storage, laws preventing people from providing firearms to minors, and safe storage requirements. Michigan does not have that, which is super important. So it is House Bill 5066, which was introduced June 17th, 2021. It addresses penalties for people who leave or store a gun where a child could access it. But as of right now, Michigan does not have it. So it's really going to be interesting what she can charge them with. And the sheriff said the same thing. I'm all for charging them, but when you look at Michigan law, it does not appear that she might be able to. Very similar to Brian Laundrie's parents. Um, we also found out two big things yesterday. We found out that there were behavioral problems, not a long history of them with the shooter, but on Monday, a teacher in the classroom saw and heard something she felt was disturbing, and they called his parents. I don't know when the North Carolina law passed. That's what Sheriff Bouchard said yesterday. They had a counseling session about it with school officials, left the parents a phone call. On Tuesday at 9 a.m., they summoned his parents again, or his parents came to school. They hadn't been there the day before. He did not know they were coming. The parents were at school. They called the shooter into a meeting because this was a different teacher in a different classroom that felt she saw some behavior that was, again, concerning. And at 10 a.m., he went back to class. 10 a.m., he went back to class. So we got to think about social media and teenagers. You have got to be checking your teenagers' social media if they haven't. During that meeting, and I don't know who's at fault. I mean, maybe is it the child access prevention law? I don't think that would have kept him from getting that gun. I don't think the parents gave a shit, honestly. I mean, they gave it to him as a Christmas present, but maybe it would hold them liable. But the real issue is no one during that meeting thought to pull up his Instagram. That's all they had to do was pull up his Instagram. And again, he had 172 followers on Instagram. Someone saw that. And we hear stories that there was a video on his phone. We don't really know if the video was publicized to people. We just don't know those things yet. So we do know that on Friday, the shooter posted this. Just got my new beauty today, Sig Sauer 9mm. Ask any questions, I will answer. The other thing we know, which is not being reported, and I don't know why, because the sheriff has confirmed it. His mother put this up on her Instagram account, which yesterday was active, today is not. Mom and Sunday testing out his new Christmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm, I hit the bullseye. I don't know why no one's talking about this, but this to me is the biggest problem. You have given you might say, well, I gave my 12-year-old your hunting rifle. This is not a hunting rifle. This is a handgun. And yes, Michigan does not have a law that says you can't give your child a handgun. Not that I could find. I think you hit a point where you want to just keep people, I think we expect in a community that people have to make the right decisions as parents, as students. But during that meeting, all they had to do was look at his Instagram. This is all they had to do. The account was private. Black Death. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. See you tomorrow, Oxford. If they had opened up that Instagram, 4 children would be with their families for Christmas. 4 children. So I don't know who to blame. I don't I don't know if you can blame anybody. But I do know that we could have done better. Tate Meyer, Hannah Juliana, Madison Baldwin, Justin Schilling. Metal detectors. Maybe. I think Michigan, during the pandemic, they suspended having security guards. He had posted this on Instagram. Again, a picture like this with a child with concerning behavior should send alarm bells to people. But that one right there at 10 a.m. that morning, if somebody thought to look at his Instagram, that's illegal. He would have been arrested. Or if the school had called the police. Holy cow. Call the police. I call the police all the time. That's why my children call me Karen. I mean, it doesn't hurt. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. You can be wrong. But we have got to do better. I mean, these kids aren't going to be home for Christmas. I mean, it's debilitating. It's debilitating. Why didn't they check his backpack? I have no idea. Was it in his backpack? Was it in his locker at that time? Hindsight's 2020. But if we don't learn from things like this happening, it's going to keep happening. And I think, yes, this is not a case of a child going and getting a gun illegally. This is a case of a parent giving the child the gun. And it's not illegal in Michigan. So I think child access protection laws would be helpful. Maybe a metal detector would be helpful. I think at some point you just have to expect that parents will do better than they're doing. Undersheriff said metal detectors are too expensive. But that mom, and the sheriff did say, I confirmed it. The sheriff and lieutenant both said he had gone to the shooting range to practice shooting that gun. But Melissa, you can only be charged if you knowingly thought the child might use it for something wrong. It'll be interesting. I hope she can charge him with something. But as parents, please check your kids' Instagram. And school officials, if you have a child you're worried about, look at their social media. I have Snapchat. Do I understand Snapchat? No, but I'm on there. My children are on there because they don't want me on their Snapchats. So anything they have, I have to be able to get onto. And yes, they could go to all sorts of trouble and have fake Instagram accounts, but the shooter's Instagram accounts were not fake. They were with his name, with pictures of him posing with a gun. See you tomorrow, Oxford. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. So I just wanted to clarify that. Yes, my children call me Karen. Snapchat. I mean, not to mention the freaking opioid epidemic. And I hadn't even gotten into talking about that. Holy shit, holy. I mean, you want to talk about bad stuff. You talk about fentanyl. Killed 100,000 people last year. Anyway, but parents, just use your common sense. I mean, come on. Golly. In schools, call the frickin' sheriff's office. Call the sheriff's office. I would rather someone call about my child and have them be wrong than not call. Just call and share this with your friends. Tell your friends, hey, keep up with Instagram. Keep up with your children's friends' Instagram. I friend them all. I send requests, which they say is so extra. But you know what? I want to see what they're doing. So, anyway, you don't need to be the cool person. This mother said, I don't pay for car insurance because I want my son to get a good education. So she's complaining about education. She's not paying for car insurance, but they go and buy him a 9mm pistol on Friday. They take him to shoot it on Saturday. And then on Monday, he says the countdown to death is coming. And on Tuesday, he kills 4 people and terrorizes a whole community. You can't tell me that there weren't signs and signals that were ignored and things didn't happen. It's unacceptable. And you have to say, you know what? I did the best I could. And I don't think the parents, particularly in that situation, can say, you know what? We did the best we could. If my children end up crappy, I'm at least going to stand here and tell you I tried and I'll answer for myself. I certainly won't talk to prosecutors or won't tell my children not to talk to law enforcement. There are kids that have died. At some point, you have to decide that your child's freedom isn't worth the loss of a child. I mean, I love my children, but if they did something like that, they're going to talk to police. Like they've already ruined and killed people. I mean, now all they can do is do things the right way. You have to start somewhere. Anyway, and I know it's your right not to talk, but I really think it's wrong. I think from just a moral standpoint in this world, you have to answer for things you've done. I'm married to a criminal attorney. I get it. But he agrees with me. You know, we're not going to save our son at the expense of those families. So that's all I got.